managing the organization and IT's environments as a survival unit. Multi-stakeholder management.
The systemic perspective of OD perceives a system with its relevant environments as a survival unit. The environments are relevant if they have an impact on the success and the survival of an organization. Environments can be different systems, such as employees, clients, competitors, cooperation partners, legal norms, political decisions, culturally conveyed norms and rules. A system, such as a team, a department, a company, a cooperate group, ensures its existence, its identity and its success by dealing with these environments. The term system refers to the notion of a process, to the constant process of dealing with life-ensuring measures. These measures can evoke processes of cultivation, support and development, or also of neglect, threat, and destruction of the relevant environments. A development can be defined as sustainable if it is not realized at the expense of other systems, but if the quality of the most relevant environments can be preserved in a co-evolutionary process. Systems mutually represent environments for each other. They provoke both options and constraints for each other. As systems are most commonly represented by stakeholders, such as employees, lobbyists, political representatives, managers, competitors or partners, these processes can also be viewed as multi-stakeholder processes. The development of the participating systems is crucially dominated by their mutual dependence. If the economic success of a company highly relies on the qualification and the experience of its employees, the company is well advised to invest in the qualification and the social bonding of their employees. If workers can be easily replaced, both regarding their recruiting and the investment into their integration, companies most likely do not have much appeal to invest in their employees' bonding and identification or in the improvement of the working conditions, unless, of course, they are forced to do so by law or trade unions. Mining can only be conducted regardless of the consequences for its environments, a vital issue for the situation in Mongolia cited at the beginning of this chapter. If the acquisition of a license for mining is not strictly connected to environmental conditions. Likewise, it can only be conducted in such a destructive way as long as the Mongolian civil society accepts the exploitation of their natural resources. Thus, sustainable development is always dependent on the developmental status of more systems, such as political decision-making processes, the political culture, the justice system put into force by politicians, the power and the interests of the organized civil society, the interests of citizens as clients, the parties interested in the quality of the ecological conditions, observers of the political culture and advocates for political rights. The direction of the development is defined by the intensity of the demands, both by the environmental limitations and options and by the ability of the system to adapt to the respective environmental conditions. And this, again, refers to the process of the organization's dealing between inside and outside. A system can be brought into movement by incentives and pressure from the outside, but the means and ways of its development always have to be provided internally. Understanding a sustainable process of development as a multi-stakeholder process also underlines the multi-layered complexity and the necessity of interventions for sustainable development. This cannot be considered a process of one system alone, for example, as a process of an enterprise or a political body, but, for instance, as a process anchored in the political constitution of the national and international society, particularly represented by the justice system and the enforcement of law, by the underlying political culture, by the political public represented by the media and by the politically organized civil society. This causes manifold challenges for both profit and non-profit organizations regarding its exchange with its environments. They are obliged to confront themselves with a wide range of different stakeholders, both internally and externally. Looking at the international political and economic development, it clearly shows that the exchange with the organized civil society will be a driving force for both the local and the global development. And this development will be predominantly driven by the exchange between big, innovative and successful enterprises and stakeholders of the civil society. Phil Mervis and colleagues have observed and accompanied this development over a long period in their work on corporate citizenship. Mervis, De Jong, Guggens, Quinn, and Vilser, 2010, Mervis and Guggens, 2009. This development brings about large-scale practical consequences for learning in management and OD. This is true both for the organizational learning within the company but also for the personal qualification of managers and experts.